click, and it doesn't seem to want to work. And now it's telling me that I'm waiting for a connection, but it's not connecting, or maybe it is. I see something. It says I'm live. Am I live? I think I'm live. So, yes, I am live now. All right, this is exciting. Let me kind of make some stuff happen here, and I apologize that I'm doing this, with you, like, watching me do it, but I swear it's not my fault. This used to work perfectly until YouTube changed to their new software, which still doesn't work right, but they've decided to push it on all of us anyway, and they're making the old software, which worked perfectly, go away. Yeah, I'm live. So here, let me just show you what I'm looking at. I've got my OBS software hooked up. That is Open Broadcast Studio, and that is right here. And there's like an infinite number of me's going off into infinity here. That's a little unsettling. I'm not really happy about. Well, actually, it's kind of cool. And I've got a cat which really wants. Wesley doesn't want me to pick him up. Instead, what he wants is to walk on the computer. And do you just want on my lap? He's over here. Come here, kitty. Oh my gosh, you're gonna be on YouTube. Yeah, you can be on YouTube. There he is. Yeah. There. See? It's a YouTube cat. I love this cat. Okay, so enough pussyfooting around. Because, see, he's a cat and he has feet. I don't know. Hi, I'm Clay Carlino, and I have a computer that works. It's kind of exciting. So, this is a bit of an experimental video. Actually, this is the second or third attempt at my experimental video, because I finally got the new computer up and running, and it seems to be doing everything that it's supposed to. And yeah, kitty. That goes to show that you are getting this video, which is good. I actually already did this live stream about 20 minutes ago. I sat here and I talked to you, and the software was not talking to YouTube, or more specifically, YouTube was not listening, because my stream key hasn't changed, but it kept telling me that it didn't have, I don't know. And I'm not going to go into that. So if you saw the last live stream, which there's like a dozen or so of you that did, you saw that I was still not able to live stream from my desktop computer. And so I have since figured out what the problems are that were keeping me from being able to do that, and I wanted to tell you about my process so that if you are trying to live stream and use video software and stuff like that, maybe this will help you to see some of the speed bumps that you might encounter as well. So first, a little discussion about solving problems with money. I am a person who tries to solve my problems with the resources that I have at hand. And it's not that I don't use any money in the process, but I try to be very selective about what I'm going to spend money on. And certainly there are plenty of people that I know and love who are always advocating that I should just blank. It's always, why don't you just buy a Macintosh? Why don't you just take it to a mechanic? Why don't you just buy this? This is the professional quality thing. Just buy that and you'll be good. And it's not that I'm opposed to good quality tools. I respect good quality tools. But if you start out just buying top shelf or close to top shelf, high-end, professional quality tools, then somebody else has engineered the problems out of those tools. Usually, not always. And it sucks when you spend a lot of money and then the tool that you bought that you spent a lot of money on still doesn't solve your problem. But let's just assume in this fantasy world that it does. What you're not getting is you're not getting the experience of learning what you actually want out of that tool. And let me explain that statement. You buy an expensive quality tool and somebody has engineered all the problems away, but you don't know what problems they've addressed. They know, they may be somebody who uses the tool or has been spending a lot of time working with people who uses that tool to figure out what all the issues are and solve them so that you don't have to. And there is value to paying somebody else to solve those things so that you don't have to. And so I'm not saying that that's not worth it. But the thing is that especially when you're just starting out in a new discipline, like I am. I mean, I've been making videos on YouTube for, I guess, about 3 years now, close to 3 years. And I, of course, started with my little Samsung Galaxy S4 phone. That's what I used to tape all of my content, to record all of my content. There's no tape involved these days. And then I later I got a Vixia camera. I'm trying to remember the brand name on that. Canon Vixia camera. And that helped, but at that point I was seeing the limitations of only using a phone. And so I came to realize that getting a camera would help my videos. And it wasn't a huge investment, and actually a good friend of mine donated to the channel, so thank you again. But so that I invested, and then I discovered that as I was doing more video editing, the laptop that I had at the time it was struggling to be able to do the work of the editing. So I invested in a better laptop. It was not a new laptop. It was a refurbished laptop. It was a ThinkPad X230. And compared to the previous laptop, this was a big step up. And I put Ubuntu 16.04 on it, and it did a great job. And once again, because I was starting out here, then I knew what I was looking for to get to the next level. So I wasn't starting out with a Macintosh computer and a really expensive camcorder and a license to Premiere and stuff like that, because you get all that stuff and you don't even know what it is that you need about that stuff. Instead, I'm starting with just the bare essentials, and then as I'm doing the work and as I'm learning the craft, I'm seeing the limitations of the tools that I'm getting, and then I'm investing where I have to. It's targeted, it's selective. And so I guess it was about last year at some point, based on the advice from my lovely, lovely wife, that I should start live streaming. That live streaming would be a good way to talk to my viewers and tell them about my projects without having to spend lots of time editing. Because let me tell you, editing takes forever. And for a long time, when I was starting out, I was producing a video every week, and I tried to keep it down to no more than somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 minutes. Sometimes I had to go over that, but oftentimes less. And here's the thing. The shorter you make your video, the more editing that you have to do to get it there. So I was spending a lot of time, usually spending a couple days on a project, editing hours and hours and hours of footage into just 6 minutes of content to show somebody how to change their brakes, or how to install a 220 outlet, or something like that. And see, I felt like that was important because my viewers don't necessarily want to watch a 20-minute long video on how to do these things. They want to get the information that they want and move on. And I respect that. Your time is important. So I was, that was a big priority. And when I'm doing these how-to videos, I still try to maintain that respect for your time. Live streams, they go on forever. If you're watching, I assume that you've got the time that you want to spend with me, and thank you for that, because I do appreciate it. So, thank you. I love you. Anyway, so the problem with that is that YouTube's algorithms prefer longer content. That's something that I've observed. When I do more content and I do longer content, then it seems like all my other videos actually do better. So people want shorter videos, but YouTube wants longer videos. Live streaming is a great way to keep the algorithm happy. The algorithm loves it when I live stream. Even if only a tiny number of people are watching the live stream, I've got like 250 videos on my channel, most of which are all varying degrees of how to do blank type stuff. So the algorithm looks at my channel, says, hey, this guy, he's uploading a lot of content. I'm going to serve his stuff more often. And it's not necessarily the live stream video that the algorithm serves, because it's targeting those videos based on other people's interests. And so by doing the live streams, it's actually helping the whole channel. So these are all the reasons why live streaming is really, really good. It's great. But my poor laptop, which I bought for video editing, was not up to the task of live streaming. And when I would do it, I would get these jerky videos with and bad sound and really high contrast, bright whites and fuzzy images, because the camera on the laptop was not that great, and it doesn't have a dedicated video card, and so it's just putting the processor through the paces. And so that took me up to the next level, and that's when I realized I needed to make another targeted purchase. And so without knowing anything about live streaming, really, I've been learning this as I go, I figured, well, at this point, the laptop is like a 6-year-old model. I've had it for, getting close to 3 years now. Any computer I get is going to be a big step up. And so I bought, my lovely wife did a little bit of research, and she found a good deal on a gaming computer. And see, this seemed like a good idea because much faster processor with 4 cores rather than 2, and the base speed is more than twice what it is on my laptop, and a dedicated video card. And I figured, okay, dedicated video card, it's video, so if I'm using a webcam and I'm recording stuff, the video card will do the work and take the load off the processor, and everything will be good, right? And that makes sense. I've learned some things about video cards. So this is the video card that came in my brand new computer. This is an AMD R7 240 video card, and you could still buy these. They're about $70 or $80. And when I got my new computer and tried to set everything up, initially I thought that the operating system wasn't seeing the new video card and not using the hardware acceleration. And I commented on that on the last video, and we will talk about that in just a little bit. But this video card does not do hardware encoding. Do you know what hardware encoding is? I didn't either. There are some of you out there that are saying, oh yeah, I know what hardware encoding is. You got a video card that doesn't do hardware encoding? Idiot. Well, I didn't know. So as I was diagnosing the problems and trying to figure out why, even with this new computer, with all these vastly improved stats, my videos were still then I discovered that video cards do 2 different things. Some of them do, some of them don't. There's video encoding and video decoding. Now, for most users, the only thing that you're going to care about is video decoding, hardware decoding. That's the job of a video card. In fact, I believe that every video card in existence does hardware decoding. And what decoding is that somebody else is creating the data, and then your computer gets that data and turns it into video for you to interact with. So somebody has made a movie and you're watching that movie, and the job of your computer is to decode that data and turn it into a video that you can watch. Or you want to play a game, and somebody has programmed that game, and you have loaded the game, and then it's going to decode the video, and it's going to put that game into a format that you can interact with. That is hardware decoding. And I guess in the rare cases where you are the person who created the game, then your computer is still decoding, but you get the point. It's decoding the information to turn it into video that you can watch. Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm encoding video. I am generating content through a webcam, and I'm putting it into my computer, and then if I didn't have a website, or if I didn't have a video card, my CPU would have to use software to encode the data so that it could go out into the internet and you could watch it. And then that would put a burden on the CPU, and then everything else would run slow, and the video would run slow, and you get So you have to have a video card that supports hardware encoding. This video card does not support hardware encoding. It just doesn't do it. I saw a video online as I was researching this video card to try and figure out why it wasn't working. And the gentleman was talking about cheap video cards and how they're a waste of money. And I wanted to sit there and be like, hey, get off your high horse, pal. You know, not everybody has all the money in the world. But he makes a valid point. This video card, if you were to buy it, is $70 or $80. Now, for me, if I bought this for $70 or $80, I would get zero benefit because it doesn't do what I need it to do. And so that's an expensive $70 or $80. Now, I have since bought this. This is an AMD Radeon 580, RX 580. This cost about $170. So that's $100 more. That's more than twice the price of this one. But here's the thing. For twice the price, this video card, first of all, it's a behemoth, and I would love to show it to you, except it's inside the computer that I'm talking to you on, so I can't show you. But it's like 8 times the video card that this one is. So 8 times the video card for a little more than twice the price. And it does what I need it to do. The point of the guy in the video was that if you buy something like this, you're just not seeing the benefit for the money that you're spending, and you might as well spend $100 more to get into the world of a video card that actually works and does what you want it to do and does it well. And they can get a lot more expensive. You know, some of the other ones that I researched were like $1,200. I'm not spending $1,200 on a video card. Are you nuts? Holy crap! What the heck do you need at $1,200? You know what? I'm sure that there's people that could tell me why that's important. And you know what? If you're doing a lot of high-end rendering, okay. If I worked at Pixar, then they probably have $1,200. No, they probably have even more expensive hardware than that. They're using Macintosh. Ugh, poor people. So anyway, this is a case where I'm going to agree that if you have to buy a video card, it's really not worth it to just get the cheapest video card that you can. And I didn't choose this. This was just what was in the computer when I bought it. And I didn't even know that I didn't know what hardware encoding was. I didn't know that that's something that I had to look for. I saw a dedicated video card and I thought, okay, that should solve the problem. And that goes back to what I was saying before about how because I have suffered through the process of not having exactly the tool that I needed, now I know where to invest my money, and I can spend what I'm going to say is, I mean, $170. It's not cheap, but it's not that bad. And it's a much more efficient $170 purchase than if I spent thousands of dollars. And yes, that problem is solved, but I could have solved it for $170. So that is where I'm at with the video card. And so I bought the new video card and I installed it in the computer, and it just worked. It just worked. I didn't have to install any drivers. I didn't have to do any special terminal stuff. It just worked. And so that gets back to what I wanted to talk about from my last live stream. In my last live stream, I was a little bit critical of the developers of Ubuntu, specifically Ubuntu 19.10 and Linux in general, because I was having to do all this work because I thought that the problem was that the operating system was just, it didn't know how to make this encode. And then afterwards, I discovered that no, Linux wasn't the problem. Linux was using this just fine. It just doesn't do what I need it to do. And so this is where I apologize to the developers of Ubuntu 19.10, to any Canonical employees out there, to Ubuntu users and fans. I apologize. I should have never doubted you. I love you, Linux. I didn't know. I made a mistake. But you and me, we're like this. We've had some tough times together. But you and me, we've been through those tough times. And I'm sorry I doubted you. I am sorry that I accused you of something that you were not guilty of. I will earn back your trust. I promise. I won't doubt you again, Linux, my friend. We're like this. So, that's where we're at. The computer works. I'm able to encode video. Now, here, and yeah, I know, we're kind of running along a theme of investing money. Here is the next thing that I need to invest in. This webcam. This is a Logitech, I looked it up, let me see. This is in fact, I can do this. Okay, so this is a Logitech blah, blah, blah. C270. That's it. That's the guy right there. I bought this because it's way better than the camera that was on my laptop. And it did vastly improve the video quality. But now that I've got a better computer and a video card that works, this is not quite doing the job. And so probably the next thing that I'm going to have to invest in is a better webcam, something that maybe uses USB 3. Are we up to 3 or 4 now? I've lost track, but something that has a faster data exchange rate and supports a high resolution, maybe maybe faster frames per second. Because what I'm noticing with this webcam is that when I have it set, even though it is capable of doing, let's see, 720p resolution, when I have it set at 720p, it doesn't like it. That's when I get kind of, you see motion blurs and even if I'm not like waving my hand around like this, yes, I see motion blur, but it lags and it gives me jittery video. So what I did to solve that, capture source, and I can go to the properties, and I have turned down the resolution to 960 by 544. And that really made a big difference. Now I noticed that it even runs faster if I turn the color range. Here, you scroll down a little bit. If you change the color range to partial, but that also makes like the highlights on my nose and on my face turn bright white, and the image just doesn't look very good. So I'm leaving the color range on full, but I've got it on my 960 by 544 resolution. So I'm not getting high def out of this camera, but it's keeping up. And I think that getting a better camera would enable me to run it at a higher resolution and not get the lag. So that's something that I've done. I'll cancel this. I have also set up, if you go to File and Settings and you go to Output, I've got my advanced setting here, and in the advanced setting I can select my encoder. You do have to, now in a lot of versions of Linux you probably already have this installed, but I just want to make a note of it because when I was trying to get this to work, then I went through the process of installing this and making sure that it was in. It's the FFmpeg encoder driver software, something, FFmpeg, fast forward mpeg. You have to install that, and there's plenty of instructions online if you are a Linux user that shows you how to do that. It's actually pretty simple. It's just you do your sudo apt-get updates, run your updates, and then install the thing. It's a few lines in your terminal, and I don't know them off the top of my head, or I would tell you, but I don't. But you know what? There's better places to find it than this video anyway. But anyway, so you select the encoder, and that gives you your hardware encoding. In fact, mine. I don't think it's even giving me the option. If I went to the output mode as standard, then it would do software encoding, and then I'd get So you only get hardware encoding if you're using your advanced settings, and then it already detected my video card, which in my case is card 0. And then it's using the H.264 codec. I don't know what that means. I'm just going to be honest with you. I don't know what that means. But it's H.264 codec. And I have my level at 720 by 1080p, or 720p 60 frames per second, or 1080p at 30. That's the level. I don't know what that means either, but that's what I've got it set at. My bit rate I've got set for 2500 kilobytes per second. I think that's kilobytes. And so those are my streaming settings. For my video, I have my base canvas at 1280 by 720, and then my output is also 1280 by 720. So it's not doing any scaling, it's just keeping those. And I'll show you what that means also very quickly. When you're talking about your base canvas resolution, you see on my screen here how I have my software, and and you can follow my mouse. This is my 720 or my 1280 by 720 canvas. So when you set your output resolution, this is the canvas, and that's what it's sending out as a video. So if you've got a half-decent video card and a good internet connection, then this video will appear to you in 1280 by 720p. If I set that at a lower setting, then it's going to be lower resolution, it's going to be more pixelated, but it'll also run faster. So that's a little bit about the settings that I've discovered that work. And I've also set up some hotkeys so that I can switch back and forth between my full camera view and my screen view with a window. OBS is amazing software. You can do fantastic stuff with it, but there's quite a learning curve. So I think that's it. I think I've covered everything. I'm happy now. It's taken a lot to get to the point where this is working, but I've got audio that works, I've got video that works, and I've got some pretty strong directions on how to get it better, which is probably the next step is better camera, and then at some point I really need to finish the work that I was doing in the basement to set up a studio so that I can have lights and have a nice backdrop, and this computer will go down there and everything will be set up so that these videos can look great. And you know what? I want a second camera anyway, because a lot of the stuff that I do is showing toys or showing small bits of stuff, and I want to be able to show those in a live stream as on a second camera view, and then just be able to switch back and forth the same way that I'm doing with these two views. And OBS Studio makes that very, very easy. So that's it. If you like this video, please feel free to subscribe, click the thumbs up button, the notification bell, watch my other videos and stuff like that. You know the stuff that YouTubers always say at the ends of their videos, and it's because we need all the support we can get. So, all right. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you for joining me, and good night.